Hey Rangers, today we're going to be talking about Digimon Adventure Tri 2, and oh, it's getting good. So this is carrying straight on from the film. We reviewed that one. Link is in the description as well as up top, so definitely check it out. In the second one, we're seeing a lot more that's happening in the digital world. We start off with Ogremon versus Leomon, and Ogremon is completely different. He is not the same, and Leomon is the one there to actually kind of defeat him. I think, if I remember, they're mortal enemies, so it's kind of really nice to see this has been carried over. In this film, we see more of the Digidestined, and rather than going straight into action all the time, it's more about relaxing. It's all about kind of finding out more about the characters, a bit more humor, and I've got to admit, the spa day was a really nice touch to this film. We have different fights, we have different Digimon that are evolving. It's awesome, but we also lose a dear friend, and all of this in an hour and 24 minutes. So let's get on with the review. The only other thing you get is the special features, which I've got to admit is only one thing, which is directing Digimon, which is all talking about the ADR, the voices behind it, etc, etc. I kind of really wish we had a few more things on this one, but the only thing that I could see was just the direct feature, which was directing Digimon, and that's it. As I said previously, this film is 1 hour and 24 minutes. So let's talk about the animation. The animation is beautiful, it's consistent, it's improved, it's vibrant, it's just amazing on Blu-ray. At times in battles, it's very crisp. It's not kind of low quality. You can see pretty much everything that's going on, and this makes everything stand out even more than before. One thing is with the transformations of Rosemon, I really like the way that it stood out. The evolution from like going from Lilymon to Rosemon was impressive, and I always notice this, and this is going to be in a lot more of the Digimon reviews if they're keeping it up, is they'll do one attack and then they'll evolve straight to the next level. So I'm kind of wondering why they don't do something very similar to what they did ages ago, where it was just like, here's your first form, second form, third form, going up the levels, rather than going transform, one attack, transform, one attack, and so on and so on. Out of the two evolutions, Vikemon was the most impressive to me. The character design, oh, he was awesome. Also for Rosemon, perfect. I actually really liked Rosemon. It felt like, I know with some animes, they cut certain things, so they'll kind of re-edit stuff, but Rosemon, from what I can see, hadn't been edited, hadn't been shrunk whatsoever. The fight scene with Vikemon as well as Rosemon against Imperial Digimon was really it stood out to me, and I really enjoyed it. I couldn't see any problems with the animation. It all ran really, really smoothly to me. The only thing that I could probably kind of go, was when Agumon he looked kind of dull. I can't think why, but just when I saw it, I was like, oh, you're not kind of impressive. All the others are absolutely impressive, but for parts of the scene, Agumon was a bit like, Normally, I am a sucker for like text as well as like animations, and when you look at the very, very beginning, you see these sorts of I would say data links or something, but like lower thirds and stuff like that, and that really stood out when this film was progressing, and it felt like this was the main film, and then the first one was kind of like a before, like a prequel to it. When we saw Leomon and Ogremon, where they had been infected and where they were turning, this really stood out. It wasn't just kind of something that you wouldn't really notice, but like with Ogremon, his eyes, the fact that he went berserk trying to attack everyone. I thought this was kind of interesting because the animation to me was spot on. It didn't fault any point. It was just normal. It flowed. Even with Leomon, he is very eye-catching. The way that he stands out is your attention is directed at him. Every single time he was on screen, you would just focus on him. And I don't know if it's his height or if it's that his muscles are bulging, but he literally was the main focus when he was on screen. Now, when you use certain colors, certain ones work well with each other. When obviously the Digimon were infected, you saw lots of reds and purples, and this really was eye-catching and stood out because you're drawn to that. Everyone is drawn to colors. You put different colors on, boom, your eye will go to that regardless. And those two colors worked really, really well together. From the second season of Digimon, where we had the second lot of Digidestined, we saw Ken, and obviously he kind of turned good in the end. But when looking at Ken in this one, they drew him as he was the bad guy from when he first met Davis and stuff, and you kind of think that, Ken is in this. This is really, really interesting because obviously the other Digidestined, like they kind of fell in the first one and you don't know what's happened to them yet. I really, really want to know, but please, I know obviously the Japanese is out there. Don't spoil it in the comments. I'm really waiting for the English dubs to come out so I can enjoy it fully. But I really like the way that Ken was drawn. He was very he was older. It looked like he'd been turned. He's evil. But this is oh so cool. Just the way that he is drawn, the way that he interacts with everyone else. Like the very end fight, it felt like he was the last boss. Like he could have been in the 5th or 6th one as like, come at me, Digidestined. Your Digimon mean nothing to me. And I was like, oh, this is so cool, Ken. Just keep this up, Ken. You're going to be awesome. Most of the part is we were at the school festival where they're putting on for pretty much everyone at school. And we see this in multiple animes. But when you actually look at it, it felt very peaceful. It felt that everybody was having a good time, regardless that it's an animation. But it felt very like kind of neutral. The only thing that I didn't like was the fact that everyone turned on Mimi. But we're going to be talking about that later on in the episode. So let's talk about the writing. Now, the writing was fine. There are parts that did... oh god, they did really, really annoy me. And that was mainly about Joe. Now, previously in the first one, Joe was kind of like, oh, my studies, I've got to focus on my studies. I've got to pass this test. I have to do this. And it felt like he was being like, he was a workaholic on this one. But when it came to this one, it just, it felt like Joe wanted a lot of validation of like, you're doing a really good job, Joe. Keep it up. Joe, just go for it. You're fine. Joe, we're able to do this. You know, you're absolutely doing it right. But he would always come back like, guys, I can't do it. You know, what happens if I do this? Like, oh my god, Gomamon will do this. I'm like, oh! It's only until the very end of the film where he changes. He becomes a different person. But to me, it just really irritated because I wanted to see him grow as a character very much earlier on in this film, rather than him kind of always moaning, kind of not doing anything, and him like ignoring text messages and messages from the others when they're saying, hey, you need to come along, you need to come help, and he's just like ignoring it. It's like, come on, man, you went through a lot with these guys and now you're just bailing on them. I know you've got to study. Maybe that's the reason why you're over fatigued on information. Just let loose, relax. But Joe did get to me quite a lot, and I just didn't like him as a character. Now, Matt and Tai still have this whole beef towards each other, and it's getting old. It is. It's the fact is Matt just seems he's always angry, that he just wants to scream, he wants to punch, and I just want him to go, do you know what, Matt? Just go for it. Just go at it. Just attack Tai. You know, who you have to do, just get this all out of your system. Break down, cry, so you're never going to do it again. And Tai will be like, it's okay, man. Don't worry about that. When it comes to Tai, he also annoys me. It feels like his character went from this amazing person to this thing where he's always in on himself. He's not like sharing. He's not saying anything. And this kind of really irritates me. When Agumon couldn't fuse to make Omnimon, you know, he just keeps it back. As soon as Matt questions this and says, you know, what was it? Was it the fact that you were scared? Tai just goes, nah, and runs away, or tries to. When Matt tries to block him, you know, he's like, no, and runs off. And I'm like, come on, guys. Seriously, just talk about this because it's oh so infuriating. And if this is going to carry on through all the films, I'm going to lose a lot of respect for the characters. The rest of the characters, Sora, Mimi, and all that, I really like them. They were written really well, and it feels like they've grown as a character. You know, even with Kari and TK, when Kari makes jokes and she's like, oh, you know, TK's Digi-evolved to Flirtomon. And it's these little things that really work well, which think, okay, they're all friends, they're all getting along. But I kind of always thought it was TK and Kari that got together. Maybe they'll get together at the very end of the film run. You know, it'd be nice to see them do that. But, you know, these characters were really well written, and I really enjoyed watching them act and actually do stuff on screen. Mimi, to me, has always been portrayed as this happy character. Nothing can really get her down. And the fact is that if she does something wrong, you know, or people like do something wrong, she doesn't judge them, you know, she's always happy. But in this film, you see a kind of her downside. You know, she's being emotionally hurt by her friends at high school. In the film, she's asked what sort of themes should they do. You know, it's obviously they're going to serve food. But this is when Mimi goes, oh, you know, let's do this. When I was in America, we had this restaurant, which was technically Hooters, but everybody was in cheerleading outfits and everybody loved it. And she's like, yeah, let's do that. Everyone, let's do this. And they all agree. The whole school like go like, yeah, okay, we can do this. You know, or should I say the class? The entire class turn around and say, yeah, okay, we can do this. This would be really cool. And then all of a sudden, after like this attack where they see Mimi and Togemon, you know, every single person turns, and when Mimi's like saying, okay guys, you know, this is what we've got, what do you think? Everyone's like, no, we didn't say that. You assumed that we wanted to. We never wanted to do this at all. And I'm like, why didn't you say this at the very beginning? Why didn't you say, Mimi, we're not doing that? But oh no, you know, it's a plot device that works well in the film. The Digimon were okay at times, but the only thing that really kind of annoys me is the fact they're always wanting to eat. They're always wanting to eat snacks. In every scene, there is a thing about snacks. Hey guys, let's go save the Digiworld. But what about my snacks? Oh man, I gotta get snacks. But hang on a minute, Agumon, you've just eaten. Oh man, I gotta get my snacks. Oh man, I'm always hungry. And I'm like, oh. It's little things like this that just kind of ruin it, where you have like a really serious moment, and then it's just suddenly, Ty, let's go have some snacks. Ty, I gotta go eat this. Ty, let's eat some Thai food. And I'm like, no. But it kind of simmers out at points, but pretty much most scenes it's food related. And I just had a rant about that. Yay. I think there was a right amount of comedy in this. Not enough to keep making laugh all the time, but a little bits where it really kind of mattered. When Izzy turns around and says, oh, I forgot, you know, oh, finally. Tentomon comes up, oh, did that Nigerian prince finally email you back? These are little moments that kind of really made me laugh. And I was like, that's actually quite funny, just at the right time. Also, when looking back at the spa, where they're having fun and the girls lose the Digimon because they've gone in a hamper, they start running around and go into the men's room. Now, normally it's always kind of the other way around. Like, sometimes the men will fall into the girls' bathroom or the restrooms or whatever, and everyone screams at them. But it was kind of really nice seeing that when the girls ran into the guys' room, it wasn't a, okay, we'll let it go. They were like, get out, you know, this is not your room, oh my god. Even the girls like smiled like, oh, it's cheeky. But you kind of think that if it was the other way around and the guys did it, they'd get slapped, and we'd see the whole thing of them holding their faces because it really stings and hurts. But it was kind of nice seeing this like kind of role reversal. So what made this interesting to me? The storyline in particular was really interesting. It didn't kind of make me go, oh, I'm bored. It kind of made me want to watch more. Like, I really want to watch the rest of the story. Even when the characters had backbones, like Joe really gets a backbone right at the end. But beforehand, he's just constantly just like, I've got to study is more important. And I ranted about that before, but it kind of really irritated me. And you kind of think that after all this time, when you take breaks, you know, you want to help your friends, not just ditch them because you've got an important test. You know, it just kind of feels like education was more important than the friend, his Digimon, and also the kind of fate of the world. I love seeing Leomon. He is an awesome Digimon. He was drawn really, really well. And when he interacted with the other characters, even Makomon, I think I said her name right, you know, every single time she did the whole please, he would just, his heart would beat. And I was like, oh, if there's going to be any love, like any love interaction, let these two become like best friends, and then girlfriend, boyfriend, you know, or Digimon and Digimon. And I think they'd be really, really nice. I was really saddened at the very end when he was almost deleted. And I was like, but it was something that I didn't see coming. And oh my god, was it kind of emotional. Again, going back to Joe, his character, when he kind of he had to have a heart-to-hearts with pretty much everybody just to get that clarification. And I think the main one is when he has it with Mimi, and that's the one that kind of sets him in. And then again later on, when I think he has it again with Cory or Sora, just constantly saying, no, you know, you've got to do this. You finally have to become that man. You know, your friends need you. And it kind of sinks in. And in that like kind of few moments where Joe's running towards where the main battle was, you see this huge, massive improvement in him. For me, the best part was the fight with Vikemon, with Rosemon. That to me, it stood out. It feels like they have all this talking at the very beginning and it leads straight into the action near the end. And I kind of really want this to happen more. I don't mind talking, that's fine, but I want to see a bit more action and a bit more progression in the story. When looking at the fights, it felt like they've been drawn with like love and with accuracy. It's no kind of little things that drop down or the animation drops for like 1 or 2 cells. It feels like this is being taken care of and it's got a lot of love in it, and I really enjoyed this. It was energetic, it was fun, and in all, it was really enjoyable to watch. I would highly recommend this, and the reason why is I've been enjoying this from the first one to the second one. You know, it just seems kind of like the story has progressed. I think that we've still got like from 3 to 6 or 3 to 5 left to keep going. The animation is gorgeous. It's really, really beautiful. There's so much I really want to talk about with like the plots of the stories. But again, if I did this video would probably be like 20 to 30 minutes long. I really liked Joe and Gobblemon's kind of interaction. And I think one of the other funny parts is when the kind of like one of the agents sends a picture of Mimi where she's singing and dancing, sends it to Izzy, and he just literally goes, "I've got to go," and just runs straight to the school and gets really embarrassed. And you know, obviously we saw from the first part where, you know, Mimi's teasing him, this is carrying on. I really can't wait for those two to actually properly get together. If you're a Digimon fan, I would wholeheartedly pick this up. If you're not and you're starting to get into Digimon, number 1 and 2 are a perfect way to start your collection and then go back to watching the first series with like TK, Ty, Matt and all that in it. I'd say I highly recommend this. On Blu-ray, it looks absolutely stunning, and I think like if you buy the collector's edition, perfect. So Rangers, what did you think about Digimon Adventure Tri 2? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? What are your thoughts? Let me know what your favorite part is in the comments. Let's start talking about it, because oh my god, I love the fact that Digimon's back and we're getting all these from Manga Entertainment. It's just perfect. So Rangers, I'm going to leave it there. If you've liked this video, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the other videos on the channel. If you want to help support the channel on Patreon, link is in the description down below. And as always, Rangers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.